When hope called from the stars, the routine that changed everything, the coffee had gone cold hours ago, but Dr. Sarah Chen barely noticed. She sat hunched over her workstation aboard Deep Space Monitoring Station Nexus 7, watching streams of data flow across multiple screens. The station hung in Jupiter's shadow like a metallic spider, its massive sensor arrays constantly scanning the void for any sign of intelligent life. For 12 years, Sarah had been listening to the universe. Every day brought the same routine: analyze radio signals, check for patterns, file reports that no one seemed to read. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence had become more of a job than a calling, and most days she wondered if they were truly alone, still chasing ghosts. Doc. Captain Miguel Santos stepped into the observation deck, carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. His weathered face showed the kind of tired smile that came from years of commanding a station where nothing ever happened. Sarah accepted the coffee gratefully. Someone has to listen, Miguel. What if today's the day? You've been saying that for over a decade. Miguel settled into the chair beside her, gazing out at Jupiter's swirling storms. Maybe some questions aren't meant to be answered. Before Sarah could respond, her workstation erupted in a cascade of alerts. Every screen flashed red, and alarms began blaring throughout the station. Sarah's hands flew across her keyboard, her heart racing as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. What's happening? Miguel was already on his feet, his casual demeanor replaced by the sharp focus of a career military officer. I don't know, Sarah whispered, staring at her displays in disbelief. Miguel, this isn't natural background radiation. This is structured, intentional. The message from beyond Lieutenant Zara Okonkwo burst into the room, her dark eyes wide with excitement and fear. Captain, we're receiving a transmission on multiple frequencies. It's coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 1,200 light-years away. Miguel frowned. That's impossible. Even at light speed, any signal from there would take over a millennium to reach us. Not if they're using quantum entanglement communication, Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. She was pulling up spectral analyses, her scientific mind racing even as her hands trembled. Look at these patterns. This isn't random. There's mathematical progression, prime number sequences, even what looks like molecular diagrams. The 3 of them stared at the screens as the signal continued to pulse through space. After decades of silence, the universe was finally talking back. Can we decode it? Miguel asked. Sarah was already working, running the signal through every translation protocol they had. The mathematical portions are clear enough, but there's more here. Complex linguistic structures. It's going to take time. Time we might not have, Zara said quietly. Captain, the signal strength is fluctuating. Whatever's sending this, it's getting weaker. For the next 6 hours, the 3 of them worked without rest. Sarah coordinated with Earth's most advanced AI systems, running the alien message through every decoder mankind had ever created. Miguel maintained communications with Earth Command, updating them on humanity's first potential contact with alien intelligence. Zara monitored the signal strength, watching helplessly as it continued to fade. Then, at exactly 0347 hours station time, the breakthrough came. I've got it, Sarah announced, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. The message is repeating, but it's not just one message. There are dozens of different transmissions, all using the same basic mathematical framework. What do they say? Miguel asked. Sarah's face had gone pale. Miguel, they're not trying to contact us for scientific exchange. These are distress calls. Hundreds of them. Voices in the dark, the main screen filled with translated text, as Sarah's computers worked through the alien transmissions. Each message was a desperate plea from a dying world. This is the counsel of Zephyria. Our world burns. The devourers have come. If anyone receives this message, remember us. We were a people who loved art and music and the morning light on. Our crystalline cities, broadcasting from the orbital platforms of Nexian 7. The enemy fleet surrounds us. They offer no terms, no mercy. They consume everything. Warn others. Do not let our fate become yours. Final transmission from the science vessel Lightbringer. We have studied the attackers for 3 cycles. They call themselves the Devourers. They strip worlds bare, consuming all life, all resources. They have destroyed 47 systems in this sector alone. This is our final warning to whoever finds this message. They are coming. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be stopped. Miguel's jaw tightened as he read the translations. These are war reports. These people were being slaughtered. But Sarah was focused on one transmission that had appeared at the bottom of the screen. Unlike the others, this one was different, newer, and it was addressed specifically to them, to the people of the 3rd planet in the Sol system. We know you exist. We have listened to your radio transmissions for many years. Your music, your stories, your dreams of peace among the stars. We know you as humans, and we know you as warriors who fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Miguel and Zara moved closer to the screen as Sarah continued reading the message aloud. Our world is called Sanctuary. We have watched your species overcome great darkness. You have fought wars against tyrants. You have defeated those who would consume the innocent. We know because we have been listening. Your broadcasts have traveled far, and we have learned your languages, your hopes, your values. Sarah's voice cracked as she read the next part. The Devourers have found us. Their fleet darkens our skies. In 7 of your days, they will make planetfall. We have no weapons that can stop them. Our people number 43 million souls. We are artists, scientists, philosophers. We have never known war, but we have studied yours. The message continued, and with each word, the magnitude of what they were reading became clear. We reach out to you across the void, not for conquest or trade, but for mercy. You do not know us, yet we ask you to cross the stars to stand with us. We have seen your species fight against overwhelming odds to protect the innocent. We pray that compassion extends beyond your own kind. The impossible request. Miguel stared at the screen in stunned silence. An alien species, facing extinction, was specifically asking humanity for help. They had been studying human transmissions for years, learning about human nature, human values, human capacity for both war and compassion. There's more, Sarah said, scrolling down to the final portion of the message. We offer nothing in return because we have nothing left to give. Our cities are already burning. Our ships are already breaking apart in orbit. We ask only that if you choose to help us, you come quickly. And if you cannot help us, please remember that we existed. Remember that we reached out to you in our final hour, not with weapons or threats, but with hope. The coordinates followed, along with detailed star charts and tactical information about the Devourer fleet. The aliens had provided everything humanity would need to find them. They're 1,200 light-years away, Zara said quietly. Even if we had ships that could travel at light speed, it would take over a millennium to reach them. And they said 7 days, Miguel added. By the time any message we send reaches Earth, it'll already be over. Sarah was still staring at the screen, her mind racing. Unless, double quotes, unless what? Miguel asked. The quantum entanglement communication. If they can send messages instantaneously across 1200 light years, maybe they can do more than just talk. Before Miguel could ask what she meant, every screen in the room suddenly switched to a new display. This wasn't text. It was a live video feed. The image was grainy, transmitted across impossible distances, but it was clearly real. They were looking at an alien city under attack. Graceful spires of crystalline architecture burned against a purple sky. Ships that looked like works of art were breaking apart in orbital combat, their crew's final moments playing out in silent explosions of light. And in the foreground, standing on what appeared to be the highest tower of the city, was a figure that was unmistakably alive and looking directly at them. The alien was tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer like starlight. Its large eyes held an intelligence that transcended species, and when it spoke, its words appeared as translated text at the bottom of the screen. People of Earth, I am Zephyr, last speaker of Sanctuary. If you can see this transmission, then our quantum bridge has succeeded. We are dying, but we chose to spend our final power not on weapons, but on hope. On reaching out to a species we have never met but have learned to respect. Behind Zephyr, explosions lit up the sky as the Devourer fleet continued its bombardment. We know this request is impossible. We know you have no reason to help us. But we have studied your species for decades through your broadcasts. We have seen you fight not just for yourselves, but for others. We have heard your stories of heroes who cross great distances to stand against darkness. Zephyr looked directly into the camera, and somehow, across 1200 light years, the aliens' eyes seemed to meet theirs. If there is any truth to these stories, if humans are truly the protectors your own legends claim them to be, then we ask you to remember us not as strangers, but as people who believed in the goodness we saw in your transmissions. The transmission flickered, and Zephyr's final words came through just as the feed cut out. We have 7 days. If humanity has the power to cross the void, now is the time to show the galaxy what human compassion can achieve. The room fell silent, except for the quiet hum of the station's systems. Sarah, Miguel, and Zara sat in stunned silence, processing what they had just witnessed. Somewhere, 1200 light-years away, an entire civilization was counting down. Its final hours, and they had specifically asked humanity for help. Miguel was the first to speak. I need to contact Earth Command immediately. But as he reached for his communication panel, Sarah grabbed his arm. Miguel, wait. What if Earth Command says no? What if they decide it's too risky or impossible? Or not our problem? Then 43 million innocent people die, Miguel said grimly. Not if humanity is who we think we are, Sarah replied. Not if we're the species that Zephyr believes we are. As if summoned by their conversation, the communication panel lit up with an incoming transmission from Earth. But this wasn't from Earth Command. The identification code showed it was coming from Admiral Rebecca Hayes, Commander of Earth Defense. And the message priority was classified at the highest level. Miguel accepted the transmission, and Admiral Hayes' stern face appeared on the screen. Behind her, they could see what looked like a massive military command center in full operation. Nexus 7, we received your preliminary report. Confirm that. You've made contact with an alien intelligence requesting military assistance. Confirmed, Admiral, Miguel replied. The situation is exactly as we reported. An entire alien civilization is facing extinction. and they've specifically asked humanity for help. Admiral Hayes was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried a weight that suggested she was about to change the course of human history. Captain Santos, I'm about to tell you something that's been classified for the past 40 years. Humanity has been preparing for this day since we first detected artificial signals from deep space. We've been waiting for the moment when someone would reach out to us, not for conquest, but for help. Sarah felt her heart racing. Admiral, what are you saying? I'm saying that humanity has been building something in secret for 4 decades. Something designed specifically for a moment like this. Dr. Chen, Lieutenant Okonkwo, Captain Santos, you've just witnessed first contact with an alien species, and now you're about to learn that humanity is far more ready for this moment than anyone outside of Earth defense knows. The transmission paused, and when Admiral Hayes spoke again, her words sent chills down their spines. In 8 hours, you'll witness the launch of humanity's hidden fleet. We call it the Salvation Armada, and it's been waiting in dark space for exactly this kind of call for help. Zephyr asked if humanity has the power to cross the void. They're about to find out. As the transmission ended, Sarah looked out at Jupiter's swirling storms and realized that everything was about to change. Humanity had been listening to the universe for decades, waiting for someone to call. Now someone had, and humanity was ready to answer with everything they had. The age of humans, as galactic protectors, was about to begin. The fleet that darkness feared, the secret of Dark Space 8, hours after Admiral Hayes' shocking revelation, Dr. Sarah Chen found herself aboard a military transport ship racing toward coordinates she had never known existed. The transport was heading to a region of space beyond Pluto's orbit, where the official star charts showed nothing but empty void. Captain Miguel Santos sat across from her, his expression grim as he reviewed classified briefings that had been delivered just hours before. Lieutenant Zara Okonkwo was monitoring communications, listening to radio chatter that used military codes she had never heard before. I still can't believe it, Sarah whispered, staring out the viewport at the darkness ahead. 40 years of secret construction, an entire fleet built without anyone knowing. Miguel looked up from his briefing materials. According to these files, the project started in 2180, right after we detected the first artificial signals from deep space. Earth Defense decided that if we ever made contact with aliens, we needed to be ready for any scenario, including rescue. Missions 1,200 light-years away, Zara asked. Especially rescue missions, Miguel replied. The planners believed that any species advanced enough to contact us would judge us by our actions, not our words. They wanted to make sure that if someone asked humanity for help, we could deliver. The transport's pilot came over the intercom. Passengers, we're approaching the staging area. Prepare for the sight of your lives. Sarah pressed her face to the viewport, expecting to see the usual star field of deep space. Instead, she saw something that made her breath catch in her throat. It looked like a city made of light floating in the void. Massive structures stretched across hundreds of kilometers, connected by bridges of pure energy. Ships moved between the structures in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with advanced technology that looked decades ahead of anything she had ever seen. Welcome to Firebase Humanity, the pilot announced. Home of the Salvation Armada, the hidden truth. Their transport docked with the central command station. Sarah realized the scale of what humanity had built in secret. The docking bay alone was larger than most space stations, filled with ships of designs she had never seen before. Personnel moved with the efficient purpose of a military operation that had been planned for decades. Admiral Rebecca Hayes met them at the airlock, her presence commanding immediate attention from everyone in the bay. She was younger than Sarah had expected, with the kind of sharp intelligence in her eyes that suggested she had been chosen for this role based on capability, rather than seniority. Dr. Chen, your linguistic analysis of the alien transmission was crucial, Admiral Hayes said as she led them through corridors lined with advanced displays showing fleet positions and tactical information. Without your work, we wouldn't have understood the urgency of the situation. Admiral, Sarah began, how is any of this possible? The technology I'm seeing here is decades beyond anything Earth has publicly developed. Admiral Hayes smiled. Dr. Chen, what you're seeing is what happens when humanity's greatest minds work together on a single project for 40 years. Every breakthrough in physics, every advancement in engineering, every discovery in materials science has been channeled into this fleet. They entered a massive command center where hundreds of technicians worked at stations monitoring ship systems, communication arrays, and tactical displays. At the center of the room, a holographic display showed the galaxy with 2 points of light connected by a thin line. One point was labeled Sol System and the other Sanctuary. 1,200 light years, Admiral Hayes said, following Sarah's gaze. In conventional terms, an impossible distance. But the Salvation Armada wasn't built for conventional warfare. Captain David Kim approached their group, his uniform bearing insignia that Sarah didn't recognize. He was tall and lean, with the kind of confidence that came from commanding advanced technology. Admiral, the fleet is ready for final departure. All ships report green across the board. Excellent. Captain Kim, meet the team from Nexus 7. They're the ones who received the original transmission. Kim nodded respectfully. Your work made this possible. We've been training for decades, but we never knew when the call would come. How many ships are we talking about? Miguel asked. Kim gestured to the holographic display, which zoomed out to show the entire staging area. Sarah gasped as she saw the true size of the fleet. Thousands of ships in formations that stretched across hundreds of kilometers. 3,000 combat vessels, Kim announced, each one designed specifically for long-range rescue operations. We have hospital ships that can treat alien physiology, engineering vessels that can rebuild entire cities, and combat ships that can face any threat the galaxy might throw at us. But how do you get there in time? Zara asked. The alien transmission said they had 7 days. Even at light speed, you can't cross 1,200 light years in a week. Admiral Hayes and Captain Kim exchanged glances. That's the part that's been classified above everything else, Hayes said. Show them, Captain. Kim led them to another section of the command center where a massive view screen showed a detailed schematic of one of the fleet's ships. But this wasn't like any ship Sarah had ever seen. The design incorporated technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. We call it the quantum fold drive, Kim explained. Instead of traveling through space, our ships fold space itself. We create a bubble of warped space-time that allows us to step outside normal physics. Sarah stared at the schematic in amazement. You're talking about manipulating the fundamental structure of reality. Humanity has had some very smart people working on this problem for a long time, Admiral Hayes said. The drive doesn't just move our ships faster than light. It moves them outside of time itself. The journey to Sanctuary will take us 6 days from our perspective, but from the perspective of normal space, we'll arrive almost instantly. That's impossible, Sarah whispered. Dr. Chen, Admiral Hayes said gently, you've spent 12 years believing that faster-than-light communication was impossible. 2 days ago, you watched aliens transmit live video across 1,200 light-years instantaneously. Sometimes the impossible is just something we haven't figured out yet. The gathering storm as the final preparations for departure continued. Sarah found herself in the observation deck of the command station, watching the Salvation Armada prepare to launch. The sight was unlike anything in human history. Ships that looked like they belonged in science fiction arranged themselves in perfect formations, their hulls gleaming with energy fields that bent light around them. Zara joined her at the viewport. I keep thinking about that alien, Zephyr. They're counting on us to cross the galaxy to save people we've never met. That's exactly why we have to do it, Sarah replied. They studied our transmissions for years. They know our stories, our values, our myths about heroes who travel great distances to fight darkness. If we don't live up to that, what does that say about who we really are? Captain Kim's voice came over the intercom. All personnel, this is Captain Kim. We are beginning final launch preparations. In 1 hour, the Salvation Armada will depart for the Sanctuary system. This is not just a rescue mission. This is humanity's first step onto the galactic stage as protectors of the innocent. An hour later, Sarah watched from the command center as 3,000 ships activated their quantum fold drives simultaneously. The effect was breathtaking. Space itself seemed to ripple and bend around the fleet as they prepared to step outside normal physics. Fold space engaged, came the report from the navigation officer. All ships report ready for quantum translation. Admiral Hayes stepped forward. Captain Kim, you are authorized to begin Operation Sanctuary. Show the galaxy what humanity stands for. Understood, Admiral. All ships, engage quantum fold in 3.2.1. Engage. Sarah watched as the impossible became reality. The entire fleet simply vanished, not moving away but stepping out of normal space entirely. One moment they were there, the next they were gone, folded into a pocket of warped space-time that would carry them across the galaxy. Transit successful, the navigation officer reported. Fleet is now in quantum fold. Estimated arrival at Sanctuary System in 6 days local time. The battle for Sanctuary 6 days later. The Salvation Armada emerged from quantum fold at the edge of the Sanctuary System. What they found was a system under siege. The Devourer fleet surrounded the beautiful blue-green world of Sanctuary-like. A swarm of dark insects, their massive ships raining destruction on the planet below. Captain Kim stood on the bridge of his flagship, the HSV Compassion, watching tactical displays that showed the enemy fleet. 200 massive ships, each, one larger than anything humanity had ever built, were systematically destroying the orbital defenses of Sanctuary. Enemy fleet composition confirmed, his tactical officer reported. 200 capital ships, approximately 500 support vessels. They're using some kind of energy weapon that strips matter at the molecular level. Kim nodded grimly. And our fleet, 3,000 ships ready for combat. All systems show green. Hospital ships are standing by to provide medical support to survivors. Communications, can you raise the alien leadership? Attempting contact now, sir. After a few moments, the main screen filled with the image of Zephyr, the alien leader. They had seen in the original transmission. The alien looked exhausted and desperate, but when they saw the human fleet on their sensors, their large eyes filled with something that looked like hope. People of Earth, Zephyr said, their words appearing as translated text. You came. Across impossible distances, you came. We said we would, Kim replied simply. How can we help? The Devourers have been bombarding our world for 3 days. Our orbital defenses are gone. Our cities are burning. We have perhaps hours before their ground forces make planetfall. Kim studied the tactical display. The Devourer fleet was massive, but they were arranged in a siege formation designed to bombard a planet, not fight a mobile fleet battle. Zephyr, we're going to need your people to take shelter. This is about to become a very dangerous place. Commander, the alien replied, our people are already in deep shelters. We have been preparing for this moment since we first detected the Devourer fleet. We are ready. Kim turned to his tactical officer. Signal the fleet. Begin operation. Righteous fury. What happened next would be remembered as the Battle of Sanctuary, the first time humanity fought as protectors on a galactic scale. The Salvation Armada moved with precision that seemed impossible for such a large force. They had trained for decades for exactly this scenario, and every ship knew its role perfectly. The human ships attacked the Devourer fleet from multiple directions simultaneously. Their weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of simple energy beams or missiles, the human ships used quantum disruptors that could collapse the molecular bonds of enemy hulls, temporal mines, that aged entire sections of enemy ships into dust, and gravity weapons that could crush vessels from the inside out. But the most devastating weapon in humanity's arsenal wasn't technological. It was tactical. The human fleet moved like a single organism, each ship anticipating the actions of the others. They had studied every battle in human history, learned from every strategic victory, and applied those lessons to three-dimensional space combat on a scale never before attempted. The Devourer ships, designed for siege warfare against stationary targets, found themselves completely outmatched by an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. Within 2 hours, the alien fleet that had terrorized dozens of star systems was breaking apart under the relentless assault of humanity's hidden armada. The price of compassion as the battle raged. Sarah watched from the command center of Firebase Humanity, monitoring the engagement through quantum communication links. The human fleet was winning, but the cost was becoming clear. Several human ships had been destroyed, their crews giving their lives to protect people they had never met. Admiral, the communications officer reported, were receiving a transmission from the Devourer command ship. They're requesting terms for surrender. Admiral Hayes stepped forward. Put them through. The screen filled with the image of a creature that looked like nightmare given form. The Devourer Overlord was a mass of writhing tentacles and glowing eyes, its voice a sound like grinding metal. Human fleet, you have interfered with the natural order. These worlds belong to the Devourers by right of conquest. Captain Kim's voice came through from the battlefield. Admiral, permission to respond. Granted, Captain. Kim's image appeared on the split screen, his face set with determination. Devourer, Overlord, there is no natural order that gives you the right to consume innocent life. Surrender now, and we'll allow your surviving ships to leave this system. The Overlord's multiple eyes blazed with fury. You cannot protect them forever, humans. We will return with greater numbers. We will devour your worlds as we have devoured theirs. Kim's response was calm and certain. Then we'll be waiting for you. The Devourer command ship turned to flee, but as it did, it fired one final shot at the planet below. A weapon designed to crack the planet's core and turn the entire world into a lifeless husk. Without hesitation, the HSV Compassion moved directly into the weapon's path. The ship's quantum shields absorbed the devastating energy, but the cost was catastrophic. Captain Kim's flagship began breaking apart under the strain. "Captain," Admiral Hayes called out. "Report." Kim's voice was steady, even as his ship died around him. "Ship is lost, Admiral, but the planet is safe. All hands to escape pods." As the HSV Compassion exploded in a brilliant flash of light, its sacrifice ensured that Sanctuary would survive. The remaining Devourer ships fled into deep space, their terror campaign ended by humanity's intervention. Heroes across the void 3 days later, Sarah stood on the surface of Sanctuary, watching as human medical teams worked alongside alien doctors to treat the wounded. The planet was beautiful, with crystalline cities that caught the light of its binary suns and turned it into rainbows. Zephyr approached her, moving with the grace of a species that had never known war until the Devourers came. "Dr. Chen," the alien said, "we have studied your species for many years through your transmissions, but we never truly understood until now." "Understood what?" Sarah asked. "Your stories speak of heroes who cross great distances to fight darkness. We thought these were myths, entertainment. We did not realize they were promises." Sarah looked around at the human crews working to rebuild alien cities, at the doctors treating alien wounded, at the engineers sharing human technology to help repair orbital defenses. "They weren't promises," she said quietly. "They were who we are." As the sun set over Sanctuary, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Sarah realized that everything had changed. Humanity had taken its first step onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The species that had listened to the universe for decades had finally heard someone call for help, and they had answered with everything they had. The message was now clear to every civilization in the galaxy. If you needed help, if you faced darkness, if you reached out in hope, humanity would answer. They would cross the void itself to stand with those who could not stand alone. The age of humanity as galactic protectors had begun, and it had begun with the simple truth that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from conquest, but from compassion. From that day forward, the galaxy would know that when darkness threatened the innocent, when hope seemed lost, when the call for help echoed across the void, humanity would be there, because that's who they were, that's who they had always been, and that's who they would always choose to be.